So it says, he said, she doesn't clean much. She hardly cooks. Not that it's her job, but she just doesn't do it. And when I ask about cleaning, she gets upset and gives me excuses. Her mom is visiting from out of town, and she cleaned up before she got here, no questions. But when I ask, it's an episode. And I'm understanding because we both work, but she works from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. But still, I just would appreciate some help cleaning at least. And so I asked some more questions. I'm like, so, what are some things like, do you help? Are you still helping even though, like, are you argumentative? Like, how are you approaching? He said, no, they're not argumentative, but it's just a pain. Like, she's not cleaning. And so I offered a little bit of advice, but I wanted to wait to hear from you all before I share what I kind of shared with him about the situation. So in this case, what would you tell a man, a husband in this case? How can he be more patient? And because he sounds like he's about to lose it. So what are some keys? And I'll probably reach out to Bionica and Ralph on this one, our marriage advocates. What do y'all think? I know it's more pieces to that, but as just generalizing, patience in marriage, how can they overcome this patch?
Um, First part of that is I feel like there's some things that they didn't cover earlier in their relationship, perhaps in the dating process, as far as what kind of expectations they had of one another, in terms of responsibilities. We recently have gone through a 7-week marriage course at our church, and we also facilitated a 5-week pre-marriage course. And not that things like this weren't available to us back when we were dating, we just didn't come across it, and just maybe weren't aware, maybe weren't really seeking it. But it's just, there's a lot of things that I think people miss out on during the dating phase that they're not like deep, profound, groundbreaking things, but they can be if you know that they exist. And just some things like that, like that's sounds like they may need to take just some steps back and just talk through some things and just kind of reestablish, reset, because I feel like it could just be in that particular relationship, it's probably just gonna get worse if they don't just like reset and figure out, what his expectations are of her, what her expectations are of him, and then figure out what the balance is going to be. Because it can't just be like, I expect you to cook, clean, and if you don't fix it, then we just always going to have problems, or we ain't going to be together, and vice versa. If she's got it made up in her mind that she's just not going to do these things to his expectations, then it just, yeah, that doesn't sound like a good situation at all. But I'll let her chime in, maybe a little bit about our dynamic.
Probably, I would say, kind of piggybacking off. Sorry, we won, and I was yelling today. So I would say, kind of piggybacking off of him, is to have the conversation of what the expectations are. But just because you have that conversation doesn't mean, okay, if he expects this, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to tell you what I'm not willing to do, I guess. And if he is more concerned with things being cleaned because that may just be something he has to take on more or all of if the compromise hasn't come yet. But if they're Christian and, if she sees, okay, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he's just like, oh, well, I would at least like a little bit of help. And maybe as he continues to do what he wants her to do or to join in, that she'll just be like, okay, I need to stop being selfish and only doing what I want and compromise, like find some kind of compromise. I think we kind of went through some of these, like, I think you should do this, I think you should do that. And then it just kind of eventually certain things that he thought that I should be doing, I just started doing them because it was like, well, it's easier to just do this than to just keep butting heads about something so silly. Like, it's easier for me. So I think even for him, it might just be easier for you to do it and don't even expect her to help you, but to keep throwing little nuggets out there. And if you're doing it and you're still being loving and everything else is how it's supposed to be, I feel like she'll eventually come around.
Yeah. So, and that's so good. That's so good, because I think, and this is even the early stages. What would you say for the couple who's been married longer, where this came up again, like not again, but maybe it's something that's causing some concern, maybe in the 7-year, 10-year mark, and it's happened and they were doing good, but now it's shifted where they're no longer doing the things they used to do. What would you say? Because I feel like that happens as well. Like we get so in the zone and then life hits and whatever. So what's your advice for that couple?
I think that
James said something
Go
that I
ahead.
like too.
Oh.
Has he discussed or thought about hiring someone to help if that's something that they can afford to do? Have they talked about hiring someone to do it? That is also something that could work, just depending on their dynamic. Also with the 7 to 10 year, that could be another thing. But what I would recommend for any kind of problem is that, are these people constantly, I guess, investing in the marriage, such as taking courses, going to marriage seminars, going to marriage counseling, because I don't think the issues are the issues. The issues are something else. There's a communication problem somewhere, especially after 7 to 10 years, it's been fine, now it's different. Obviously there's something else there that needs to be addressed. And so I would recommend just trying something different if you've never gone to counseling or a marriage seminar, or watching podcasts, or doing that course that he talked about that we just did. I think that is one thing. Throughout our entire marriage, we've always sought out outside sources and not looked within ourselves. We've always been okay, we're going to invest. Everybody invest in what they think is important. Like he's saying, is valuable. Even if it's not investing money, we're going to invest our time. Oh, this is a weekend seminar. It's free, but it's going to take the whole weekend. Well, how important is your marriage? You can take that time out. And I think a lot of the things are just deeper than that cleaning. It just seems like it's a little more, and they may just need to seek out someone outside to draw out whatever that is to help them get to the bottom of it.
For sure. And that's basically, honestly, some of the things that I've told them was where they are believers, church, accountability, therapy, whatever that may be, because you never know. And, you never know what she's going through. Is there depression there? Yeah. It's probably something underlining for her just to not do it if she was doing it before. Right. So maybe there's an expectation there where she's like, I don't know if 2 years, they're in the 2-year mark. It might be something that was, like you said, Ralph, that was not discussed, and expectations weren't clear. So does anybody else want to chime in on this topic before we actually head on to close out?
I was going to say, with the 7 to 10 year couple, what changed if it all of a sudden just became an issue? And as we grow older, we are continually growing, continually evolving. The things we desire may change, but I think the root cause still would just lead back to communication. So if they how did what changed? Why did it all of a sudden become just such a major issue after?
Well, that was interesting.
Listen, we are just here to say thank you for watching and listening from the bottom of our hearts. Your support means the world.
And we can't do this without you.
So, the algorithm don't algorithm if you don't like, subscribe, and share. So please go ahead and do so at this time.